double take caught my attention, lost my head, lost my direction, left me in a trance. I need more. So take a shot, let me meet you. Might find you on a shot of me too. You've never seen one like this before. Oh, I'm craving something special, craving something sweet. I'm craving something wondrous, wondering me. So go on, drive me crazy, go on, make me weak. Go on, work your magic, make my mind up for me. So don't overcomplicate this. Sit back and let life take its course. You've got me all so frustrated, not sure how you're gonna play this, but I'm damn sure you've got the floor. Oh, I'm craving something special, craving something sweet. I'm craving something wondrous, wondering me. So go on, drive me crazy, go on, make me weak. Go on, work your magic, make my mind up for me. Craving something special, craving something sweet.
Breaking down on a camel's back, they just have to go cause they don't know where. So while you feel the streets, it's appealing to see. You can't get undercut it cause you're damn and free. You've got a new horizon, it's ephemeral style. A melancholy town where they never smile. And all I wanna hear is the message be. My dreams, they gotta kiss it cause I don't get sleep, no. For the night, turn forever and take it all and on your side. It is something falling down. Love forever, love is free. Let's turn forever, you and me. Windmill for the land is everybody in. We'll laugh and gas these hazmats, fast tracks, on them up like acid cracks. Lady stalkers at the track. This my chocolate dash. Straight up flipping it hard this beer. Can't be rapping it hard this beer. Watch me as I navigate. We gon' ghost down this Motown with your sound. You in the flame, gon' fight the dust. Can't fight with us with your sound. You feel the ink, so don't stop. Get it, get it. Peep how your captain's in is steady. Watch me navigate. Now. I said don't stop, get it, peep how your captain's in is steady, watch me navigate. I said don't stop, get it, peep how your captain's in is steady, watch me navigate. What's up, guys outside?
Howdy.
Can you hear me? Oh, awesome.
Nice.
We're the short list. Go
Yes.
check us out.
I want to sing the song for you guys, but I want to do it a little different. So, if you know the words, I would love to hear you guys. Just tweet me, just DM me, whatever, and say I listened to it and I love it. I just want you guys to feel. So, let's groove. Oh, 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 yeah. I do what I do, no regrets. And I ain't even finished yet. Forgot about you, no amends. I can forgive, but I won't forget. Cause every once in a while I'll hear from the grapevine that you're still holding on. About how you were never wrong. I thought about you when I wrote this song. Come on, whoa, oh, oh, yeah. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me or anything I do. Don't worry about me. Don't you worry about me. If it ain't about the money, then get out my way. I ain't worried about you. Don't worry about me. I ain't thinking about you. Don't worry about me. Don't you worry about me. Yeah. Do not get me wrong. I love that you're talking. But what's even the point? I moved on, and I'm going on to better things. I no longer wish you hell, only wish you peace. Switch my mentality. Life is good, yeah. Life is golden. There's no reason to hold on to anything. Oh, 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 yeah. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me or anything I do. Don't worry about me. Don't you worry about me. Yeah. If it ain't the money, then get out my way. I ain't worried about you. Don't worry about me. I ain't thinking about you. Don't worry about me. Ha. Don't you worry about me. Yeah. Come on, hey. Oh, don't worry about me.
Welcome to DentonRadio.com, powered in part by Classic of Denton. The views and opinions of the show hosts and artists are those of the show hosts and artists, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or Discover Denton. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
And welcome to the Denton Insider, formerly the Chamber Coffee Grind. We are here to advocate, educate, and collaborate on behalf of the Denton business community. My name is Randy Skinner, and I am one of your hosts. I serve on the Denton Chamber Board of Directors and run my own marketing agency, RS Consulting. And with me today is your other Denton Insider host, Heather Gregory.
Hi. I'm Heather. I am the Executive Director at Stoke, which is Denton's co-working space. We're a program of the Economic Development Department, so we are an example of your tax dollars hard at work to serve the entrepreneurs and startup community. And we're a member of the Chamber, and we're really excited. I'm excited to be here with you today, Randy.
Yes, so this is our first official episode of the Denton Insider. So welcome, Denton. We are super excited to continue to bring you all of the hot takes and updates on all things Denton businesses. So first of all, I think we're going to move into our Chamber Scoop topic. So as part of the Denton Insider, of course, we want to bring you all of the hot takes and insights when it comes to Denton Chamber and beyond. So your chamber scoop for today, are y'all ready? Get out your calendar, get out your phone, and save this date. So August 19th at 8:30 a.m., the Wake Up Wednesday segment, a virtual AM mixer, is going to have guest Ruben Perez, and he is the Director of Sales and Services for Discover Denton. So if you've been wondering what's been going on in our CVB and our Discover Denton efforts, then Ruben is going to give you all of the updates on the tourism industry and where Denton fits into that. So again, August 18th, 8:30 a.m., it's your virtual AM mixer, Wake Up Wednesday. So you can go over to denton-chamber.org and get all of the updates, register for the event, and be sure to show up there virtually on the 19th. So that is your chamber scoop for this morning.
That'll be a cool event, I think. I don't know, I feel like everybody has such important updates that they're putting out, how things are changing, and what's coming up this fall. It'll be interesting to hear.
I know, and it's also the thought of tourism in the midst of kind of everything going on is definitely not at the, on the top of our minds. So it'll be really interesting to see how they've pivoted and just what's happening in Denton, because that's such a huge part of who we are with all of our events and our concerts and conferences. And so it'll be really exciting to learn more about what that team's been doing, because they've been working hard to pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So we are going to just dive right into our interview. Today, our guest is Dr. Jamie Wilson, who is the superintendent at Denton ISD. He has been the superintendent there since 2012. Is that right?
That's correct.
So kind of going on a decade, and it is, really interesting time for schools, as we know. So yeah, we're really grateful to have you here joining us for our first episode, and can't wait to hear kind of what your plans are for the school year.
So Heather, thank you. And Randy, thank you for having me into the chamber. We're such great partners because we really need one another to make this community be all that it can be, and to make sure we're getting good graduates that are employable, and we can bring in businesses that want to hire our graduates. And then, of course, Heather, you get an opportunity to work with some of them as they come and work in their entrepreneurial skills with you in your location at Stoke. So it's just a great opportunity for me to be here today. And you talked a little bit about it earlier. So yeah, I'm about to start my 9th year as superintendent and my 16th year in Denton. So some of you probably know this, but I received all 3 of my degrees from University of North Texas, bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. And then my superintendent certificate from Texas Woman's University. And then, of course, my youngest daughter and wife both graduated from Denton High School. So I tell people all the time, if there's an educational classroom or building in this community, I have probably been in there at one time or another as a student or a superintendent or a dad or even a husband at reunions and whatnot. So this is definitely home for us, and it's an amazing place, and it's just a great lifestyle all the way around. So I'm happy to be here and be with you this morning for sure.
Well, and I think the fact that you and your family have been a part of Denton for 16 years really just gives confidence in knowing that you are thinking about Denton and Denton. And, we like to do things a little bit differently. So I imagine as you're planning for everything happening with DISD, thinking about what's best for our Denton families and those Denton students and the whole community, I have a feeling that 16 years probably has to give you a little bit of a leg up. At least I'm going to go with that thought anyways. So what are some of the things that how has this been working behind the scenes? Like, I feel like that's one of the questions that's been on a lot of our minds is, we know y'all are busy. We know you're not sleeping. So what are you doing?
So Randy, it's crazy to think about it, but if we go back to March 6th, all of our worlds were turned upside down, right? All of our workplaces were turned upside down. Our learning environments were turned upside down, and our community was just shocking is probably an understatement of where we were, as we worked through it. And, the days to think about 15 days to flatten the curve, right? We were all of the mindset that we can do anything for 15 days. And we were working in that. And over the weekend, our teachers pivoted and shifted, and our parents, had to pivot and shift. And you go from all of us here in Denton having this incredible togetherness lifestyle of doing things outside and all the festivals that we have and the music and the food and the tourism pieces are part of it because people come and experience it from the outside. Well, we experience it every day when we go to the square for lunch or visit our local establishments, on the weekends or whatever. So, all of that came to a screeching halt, and it was just very surreal as to what's next. And in the spring, we really had a different focus because it was about keeping kids' heads in the game, trying to keep people calm and know that we would get to the end of this as we work through it. We were 75% through the school year anyway. The biggest issues we had were things like, of course, the end of the year testing and then credits and things for seniors and then graduation. And we really worked hard on graduation to have an incredible event for our seniors and their families, and worked with our local county officials and health officials to put together an incredible experience for 39 high schools in Denton County at the Texas Motor Speedway, and really have a good send-off for the class of 2020. And that was really the first, okay, what are we going to do that's different, right, and innovative and creative, and how are we going to make this work? And our team, basically, we were able to put that together in less than 2 weeks, and we didn't get to see the facility until the Friday before graduation started on that Monday.
Wow.
So if you think about this for a second, you have over 600 seniors that you haven't seen since March the 6th. You have new safety guidelines and protocol. You haven't seen your teachers. It's just all the first time you see them when they get out of their car to come to graduation exercise. Right. So it was our first dip our toe into what will the fall start to look like with regard to processes and procedures. And our team was masterful. Our kids were even better. Our parents were even better. And I can't even begin to tell you the number of emails I've received asking, well, can we do that at Texas Motor Speedway again? We really liked it. They liked wearing shorts and T-shirts and watching graduation on Big Hoss Jumbotron, right, from the infield. And so I said, I don't think I'm the person you have to convince that, but the team of 60 plus people that were working at putting that together, they may have something to say about some of that. But I think that's kind of where this whole thing started. So, if you think about it, we were all hopeful that as the summer progressed, that the cases would begin to subside a little bit, and we'd be able to get back to school as all of us remember, right? And all the different things that go with that, the excitement of kindergarten for the first time, rising ninth graders, the senior class, this is finally your time, you've arrived. And, or at least you think you've arrived, right? So we were all working through that, and that was everybody's hope and desire. And we were just making contingency plan after contingency plan after contingency plan. And sometimes it felt like our ideas, we were just kind of spiraling around the drain, right? About just keep going, and they just keep coming, and begin thinking about the fall semester. So there's definitely been a lot of conversation about the fall and what that looks like. And just to kind of give you an idea, we saw that the cases were moving back up, and we had scheduled, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, we had scheduled graduation to be at C.H. Collins the last week of June. And we'd already moved it out thinking the summer's going to get here, the COVID cases are going to decrease, the summer's going to heat this virus up, and it's not going to be here. We won't have to worry about that again till the fall. Everybody remember that narrative? And so that's where we were, and we started talking to our health officials, and Dr. Matt Richardson has just been incredible. And we were laying out our plans for graduation, and it was all the Denton County schools. So we were going to host it at C.H. Collins, and all the Denton County schools were going to come. Everybody north of the lake, Lake Dallas, Aubrey, Pilot Point, all of them. And he said, guys, you you can surely do it the last week of June, and we'll do everything we can to help you physically distance your families and physically distance your kids. But I think we're going to have a spike the third and fourth week of June. You would be better served to get this done the third and fourth week of May. And so that's when we pivoted, moved to Texas Motor Speedway, and made that happen, May 20th and 21st. So if you think about that, and he was spot on, right? I mean, he was spot on. The third and fourth week of June were just incredibly high numbers. Memorial Day came in and everybody had been, all cooped up for that whole time. And lo and behold, everybody got out thinking they were okay. And then we had an increase in numbers. Then you get to 4th of July and the numbers aren't going down, and you have 4th of July coming, and then they start going up again. So the first thing we did was we got with our board of trustees and said, we don't need to be caught keeping kids' heads in the game this fall like we were in the spring, right, when everybody was having a shift. So we got together and said our teachers are really going to need some time to prepare for remote learning, learn health and safety protocol, what's it going to look like in our schools, what's going to look like in our classrooms, and connect with our families. So our board of trustees, we called a special board meeting in July the 9th, and we pushed our start date back for students until the 26th of August. And that was purely with a couple of things. One was to help our teachers get time to prepare remotely and for health and safety. And also maybe to see if some of the cases would decrease and we would have a little time, because we were scheduled to start school August the 12th. So we delayed the start till the 26th. Shortly after we did that, we had 2 record weeks of cases and positivity rates. And our local Denton County health officials made a recommendation that we not have any in-person learning happen until September the 8th. So now here we are thinking about, okay, we've already got all our training going for teachers. We're already working through that from a remote perspective in case we have to. And now here we are, we have to for at least the first 8 days, or we could delay our school start date even more so to the Tuesday after Labor Day, which pushes the end date in June of 21. And then you start infringing upon next summer, right? The longer you wait to start this time, and then we get into summer travel plans, we get into other things that are not good for the tourism industry, right? And things that we think are important for families to do and people to be together. So we followed the recommendation, and we're ready to go August the 26th with remote learning for everyone, pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. It is 8 school days until September the 8th when we can offer in-person instruction. And as we continue to look at that and see what that looks like, it's all going to be contingent upon how many of our families choose to learn remotely for the semester, right? For the grading period. So we are really working to, we've already developed really good, robust, high quality online learning. Everyone's going to be starting the year that way, but we really are trying to encourage any of our families who can learn at home, who have the connectivity, who have devices, and who have structure, right? Structure is probably more important than the other two, because without structure, it doesn't matter if you have the other two. To learn at home, so that the kids that are at school are the ones that don't have any other place to be or don't have the resources to be able to learn away from school. So the more people we have elect or choose the connected learning platform, then the less people we have to physically distance in our schools, right? Mm-hmm. And the interesting part is we can't ask parents to commit, right, to connected learning and say, I want to learn online for at least the grading period until 2 weeks before school starts. So that's August the 12th. That's coming up this coming Wednesday. So there's a scoop for you, right? August the 12th deadline, get your connected learning forms in. But that in and of itself provides opportunities for us, because if we don't know till 2 weeks before school starts who wants to have online learning, then we can't communicate to families what in-person learning is going to look like, right? Because we don't know how many children are going to be there. And so there's just a lot of balls in the air. And I tell people here all the time that we've got a lot of plates spinning and we have to touch every one of them before one falls off. And that's really what we're doing. So we have plans, A through Z, based upon the number of students who will be learning at school. And everything from, of course, the most restrictive environment, of course, is learning at home, right? That's probably the safest from a COVID-19 perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be the safest from a neglect, an abuse, a nutrition perspective, right? I mean, there are other issues that families and students, have. So from a virus perspective, that's probably the safest, right? You're in your home, you're with your family, you've been with them the whole time. The next thing is, how do you do that at school to keep that as a small group as possible? So we're taking some lessons from the bubble, the NBA bubble, right? They've got people in small groups. So we're thinking about things like kids come and we've got them in groups of 10 or 12 in a classroom. And that's who they learn with all day, every day. We move the teacher in and out as opposed to the kids moving classes. Or even we've got everything ready for remote learning, and they would be learning remotely at home if they had structure. So we can provide them that structure at school, and they just learn with the remote platform while in our buildings with our connectivity and our devices. So that, you type at home. Next thing, bubble or pod at school. Next thing is what we call a hybrid model, where you have half of the kids who want in person there one day and the other half there the next. And then, you begin to work it down that way to all the way full-fledged, just like how we wanted it to happen before. That's the schedule perspective, right? So that's just 4 or 5 options from a schedule perspective. Separate and apart from that, we are really focusing on the big 4, right? I mean, wear your face covering, make sure that you physically distance. We're starting to try to shift the word to physical distance from social distance, because people need to socially connect, right? Even if they're at a distance, they need that social connection. And then hand hygiene, and then trying to avoid large gatherings. Those 4 things, we need everyone in the community to be a part of helping us get back to what we need to have for our kids to be learning in the optimum environment, and to create the experiences we want for our children. I mean, if you think about the fall, for a lot of people, there's a lot of anxiety about the fall semester starting just in general, right? But if you go back to your high school experiences, the fall semester was really a lot of fun for you, right? There was a lot of experiences that go into that, right? You've got all the football games, the volleyball games, you've got the marching band, you've got pep rallies, you've got welcome back to school dances, you've got people you haven't seen. And so those memories and those things that you do, that's what helps develop us socially and emotionally as people. And without those things, there's a void there. We spend the rest of our lives after high school trying to fill that void. You mentioned one in August when you're having the little coffee chat piece on the, what is that, on the 18th, right? Is that right?
Wake Up Wednesday on the 19th.
On the 19th,
Yeah.
your Wake Up Wednesday on the 19th is a perfect example of connection, right? And trying to, get that together again. And so that's some of the things that work through that. So we've been disinfecting schools all summer. There are certain things that you're just doing that are just, of course you're doing, right? Cleanliness, disinfecting, sanitizing, upgrading your air filters to a different setting, making sure you have PPE for all the teachers, masks, shields, hand sanitizers in classrooms, signs about washing your hands, building in time in the school day to do that. Those are all just kind of givens. We've also purchased gaiters for all the students and our staff. And a gaiter is like like the buff that you wear around your neck and you pull it up over your mouth and nose. They're all logoed up with their high school logos, middle school logos, and then Denton ISD for our elementary kids. And so I think we purchased upwards of 40,000 of those and tried to use a local vendor for that. right, to try to help support our local Denton community. We also purchased 16,000 desk shields to put on our elementary desks that are plastic, but they fold up kind of like a menu would fold up. And in fact, they're more of the consistency of a menu. You've been in a restaurant where you have a menu that's like in clear plastic where they slide things in it and out of
Sure,
it.
yeah.
It's like that. It's just a tri-pane, triple panel instead of two panels. So we have that so that we can have physical distancing in our schools. And then in preparation for all those things, our teachers reported this week and have really just taken the bull by the horns and are just really working hard to get everything they need in a remote learning environment for at least the first grading period and probably the first semester in the event that we shutter again so that we don't lose any ground. We will be able to flip a switch overnight and kids can be at home or they can be at school. And it's not just if you have to close schools, but it's if our teacher tests positive or if a kid tests positive, they have to be at home in quarantine for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Being able for them to continue their learning while they're still enrolled in school. So I know that's a lot of different pieces about starting back to school, but it's there's just a lot to it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's definitely especially not knowing who all is going to be at school until right 2 weeks before. It sounds like you really have to go with that A, B, C, and D kind of option. And so I know that all of us in Denton want to thank you and commend you for your leadership and more importantly, the teachers and the staff, the administrators, the people that are going in right now and working so diligently. I think your story about graduation and that pivot is really encouraging because yes, it for students, I imagine it felt somewhat like a loss, but then they get to go experience this amazing graduation and it was more of a change and an opportunity and excitement. And so I'm excited to see, what kind of new opportunities do the teachers and your administration discover in this time that we're in, because it's definitely changes, but it doesn't all have to be a loss. And I think you have proven that. And so, we'll see, right? You'll have to come back and give us a report of some more wins like the graduation.
Randy, that's a great point. And the thing that we had to remember is our students need to learn regardless of what environment we're working in. And we just have to pivot and shift. And that is a heavy lift when you have individuals that work to hone their skill and their craft year after year after year, and now you're using a completely different tool, a completely different media. It's a challenge. It's not one that they can't meet, but it's one that takes some time. And so when our teachers reported this week, they really had, the goals about developing the remote learning platform, learning the health and safety protocols, and then the third one, which is just as important as the other two, is connecting with our families. All of our families in the coming weeks will get a personal contact from their school and from their teacher to let them know, hey, I'm Mr. Wilson. I'm teaching your second period biology class. I probably know 2 days more about what's going on than you do. We're learning together. Here's what we know so far. Things could change. I'm here for you if you need me to be. Have a little dialogue, and then ask some questions about, do you have a device to learn at home? Do you have connectivity, and do you have structure? And if they don't have structure, then the other two items are really, like I said earlier, are really irrelevant. And so those are the kids and those situations where we will find a way to get them to school in some form or fashion as quickly as possible, right? Because we know who slid off engagement in the spring. We've got a list of those kids that had issues with connectivity or device or structure. And so we're really making sure we get and touch them and have hands-on, so to speak, and have a personal connection. And that's really why we called our virtual learning option for parents connected learning. We want you connected to your school and your district and to each other because that's how we get everybody back together in a good way.
Yeah. I love kind of going back a little bit to something you said. I love that you kind of honed in on that physical distance, because it's something that we've really been similarly. We're trying to build those social connections in whatever way we can.
Right.
And thinking about the opportunity that Randy just mentioned, it's interesting to think these kids that are in high school now or graduating, in 2021, thinking about what memories they may be building and how this kind of very strange time could potentially be an opportunity. And when they're able to get back into the classroom, or I don't even know, a football game. So it's, yeah, I think that you're dealing with such a complex set of problems, and we've seen it in families, we've seen it in businesses, we've seen it in schools. The target keeps moving. You're planning for 1 week and 6 months at the same time, knowing that at the drop of a hat, everything is going to change. So same as Randy, I really thank you for the leadership and all of the care that you're taking in making these really important decisions for our community.
Well, thank you, Heather. And I will tell you, this would be much more difficult if we weren't in Denton. If we weren't in a place that rallies around each other and understands what it takes to get where we need to go as a community and a group. And we may have all of our different ideology. We may have all different opinions and perspectives. But what usually we always will rally around is our students. The education is valuable here. We also value music and fine arts and performance. And so whatever it takes for us to get back to that, I have confidence our community will do whatever it takes for that to happen. And I don't know that it's that way everywhere. I know it's that way here. And that's why I feel really confident that we're going to be able to make it all happen and make an incredible experience for all of our children as we work through it. And, our trustees and I, we know the impact of these decisions on our families, on our workplaces, on childcare. I mean, our schools are definitely not childcare, but our families depend on us to make sure their kids are learning during the day so they can go and make a living. And we understand that. Our teachers most definitely don't want to be called, childcare babysitters, and that's not what they do for sure. But we understand that that's a vital piece of making sure kids are in school so that our economy can move on and work through that. And I will tell you a couple of silver linings while we've been out. Our construction at the new Denton High School on Bonnie Bray is continuing. There are 450 workers on that site daily that visit our local Razor Ranch establishments for breakfast, for lunch, for fuel, for whatever else happens. Woodrow Wilson Elementary School is getting completely redone and getting a new one. There's 120 workers on that site every day. We bus them back and forth from C.H. Collins so that their cars aren't parked on the streets in our neighborhoods. Strickland Middle School is moving into their new wing so that we can go back in and refurbish some older pieces. And so we've got kids in portables. And speaking of portables, it's probably a pretty good year to be in a portable, right? Because you can raise the windows and, it's used to be like, I don't want to be in the portable. And I was like, maybe that's not so bad. Right? So those things are happening. Ryan High School's having their Fine Arts Center edition added on. Gower High School has their pieces going on. We're working at planning for middle school number 9 and our additions at Braswell. So during this time of what school's going to look like, we've really made up some ground in construction and job creation and other contributions to our community while we've been out that we probably have been able to save our taxpayers some dollars because we were able to go a little faster, didn't have to work around our students being in school a little bit there too. So you have to, in this business, you take what you can get when you can get it. And we've taken advantage of that.
So congrats on that, because I know anytime you're dealing with the word construction and you get to use the word move a little faster, that alone is Well, I know that your team is extremely active on social media and really putting out information to keep people in the know and posted. Is there somewhere else that someone could go if they wanted just to get connected or read more about what's going on, or where can they tap into this semester?
So there's really one main place. It's our school district website at Denton ISD/back to school. In addition to that, we have a very useful YouTube channel for Denton ISD where we post videos. I've been doing one a week just about for all summer, really since the pandemic started. And we also are showing what classrooms will look like, what learning will look like, what a day in the life of an online learner will look like. All of those things, what marching band might look like. I mean, you can kind of get a picture, through the video that we've been posting in social media. And then also, there's really more specific, detailed information on the website. But if you want to kind of get a visual of what things might look like, that's there. And that's really what the challenge is with the start of this school year is, if you think about it, every single student we have now and every parent is a kindergarten student and a kindergarten parent, right? They don't know what school's going to look like. They don't have any point of reference other than what we did last spring, which is not going to look anything like what we did last spring. So that creates a lot of uncertainty. And when you couple that with the fact that our parents usually have a reference of what school looks like because they went to school, and now they don't have an idea of how to calm their student, it just compounds it all the way around, that they're just uncertain and unknown. So we're trying to put little glimpses of what we think it might look like. Again, our crystal ball is as good as the next person, and we'll just keep working to do what we can.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those insights, and more importantly, thank you to your whole team for going forward in this with such care, like Heather said, but also just innovation and creativity. And I think that knowing that we have people on the team, on the DISD team, knowing that we have your leadership, they're not just thinking about how we're getting back to school, but they're thinking about the whole person, the whole student, and the entire family, and all those dynamics, like the structure and such. So I think that gives us a lot of hope that although it may look different, we're Denton, and we're gonna get through. And so again, thank you so much. And so remind us, Dr. Wilson, what are the 4 things that we can all be doing?
The big 4, right? We've got the big 4. Wear your face coverings, right? Physically distance, hand hygiene, avoid large groups.
You got it.
If you do those things, we will have Friday Night Lights. We will have all of our bands marching at halftime. We will take AT&T Stadium by storm again with our local football teams and all of the things that we do during the fall. And we'll have our volleyball on Tuesday and Fridays and cross country on Saturday and tennis in between. So we're really looking forward to everybody helping us with those big 4 things.
You got it. That's a very small ask considering everything that you've been doing. We can do the big 4, no problem at all.
Thanks,
well,
Randy.
thank you again for your time. And again, I want to remind you all that on August 19th, we will have the Wake Up Wednesday hosted by the Chamber. Go to denton-chamber.org to learn more about all of the upcoming events. And we are excited to wrap up our first episode of the Denton Insider. Heather, I'm going to toss it on over to you.
Yeah, thank you again, Dr. Wilson, for being here with us. And we're excited. Our next episode, we're going to be chatting with Jason Bodor, who works at Jasati, but he also is a main part of Denton Main Street Association. So he's going to be talking about ways that Main Street Association has been helping their retail businesses, restaurants, kind of storefronts transition and pivot online. So he's going to give some tips and talk about some initiatives that they've been taking. So tune in next time.
See y'all later.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Hey everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, DentonRadio.com has soft launched a new website and brand. We'd love for you to go and check out the new look, but we also want to walk you through the new website and all the features you can see. So the main thing that we're most excited about is we have this video feed right at the top of the page that's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week video feed of different Denton performances. Now these are past recordings that we've done here at Denton Radio. We also have some awesome recordings coming at us from Tiny Couch Productions. Thank you, Tiny Couch. If you haven't checked out Tiny Couch, you've got to go see those guys.
So 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week feed, and what we're dedicated to as an organization is going forward, we're going to be trying to be inside different Denton venues as much as possible. So we're going to be going to Dan's and Rubber Gloves and Andy's and LSA and recording the shows while they're happening and putting them right here. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're going to have a true window into the Denton music scene. So it's going to be really, really cool. Now just beneath that, we have the This Week in Denton section. And what you can do is scroll through and see all the shows that are happening in Denton that week. And then you can listen to the different songs from the different artists that are playing those shows. And then when you click the green button underneath it, it's going to take you right to discoverdenton.com's calendar page for that show. So you're going to get all the info on where, what, who, how, all that good stuff. And we'll be changing this out every single week. So you're going to have a full section of all the shows that are happening and everybody that's playing where you can go listen to them and check it out. We also still have our podcasts on this page. Everything that we were doing before is still here, but all these new fun features are coming at you. More features as well to come as we get further and further into this soft launch. And whenever we can start booking shows again and everybody's kind of back to normal, we're gonna have a really awesome big launch party and we'll get the final product out there. And we're super, super excited about it. So thank you guys so much for checking it out. Go see it all at dentonradio.com.